Hi, welcome to the Commercial Gas Engineer channel. Just carrying out servicing on 5 units here, Evo Max 150s. Do remember when carrying out minor servicing that you should refer to the manufacturer's instructions, ensure that your gas safe registered as well. On this unit, having a look inside, making sure there's no signs of leaking and so on. And then also checking the condensate trap that they are clean. You can give them a flush through if they are dirty. These look like they need a good flush through. You also want to check your flue. Sometimes on some of these you can just give them a little tug to see if they're connected. Make sure it's connected. Have a visual check of your flues, and sometimes you do need to give them a little tug to make sure that they're secure. Ensure that they're also clipped throughout their run. This is an open fluid appliance, so a flue flow test will need to be carried out on it once the boilers are hot. That's another thing when you are carrying out servicing on these boilers. As you may already know, it's good to switch off a few of the boilers first once you arrive on site. So here on my BMS, I have shut them off, but despite shutting them off on the BMS, they're still running. So this is not controlling them, they're still operating. So I have 2 boilers here operating. These have shut the power off to these 2 boilers. I don't want my boilers overheating, otherwise when I'm analysing them I won't be able to get them up to temperature in order to check my high and low. So I've switched these 2 off. Ideally you want pump overrun on and so on with the boilers before switching them off. Check your gas supply, ensure that your gas supply is of an adequate size to meet the demand of all appliances running at the same time. You can carry out a working pressure test whilst your appliances are running to see how much gas they require, how much gas they're using, and you can also check the working pressure at the gas meter as well. Do go onto the roof and see how your flue is dissipating to make sure there's no restrictions on the flue and that the right dimensions are met, the right minimum and maximum dimensions are met with the flue. So ensure that you check the entire length, the visible possible, so because you can't always see all of the flue runs, so try and see what is what you can see as much as possible on the flue throughout the run. Ideally when you're carrying out a flue flow test you want another person on site, so when you are letting off your smoke bomb someone can be on the roof as well to see it dissipating. On a major service you need to have a service kit so that you can break into the heat exchanger and give the burner a clean with a soft brush and flush about 4 to 5 litres through the heat exchanger. Ideally as well on a major service you want to be changing your probes, so you would like to, it's ideal for you to change your probes so that they can be, or if you can't change them then you can at least give them a clean with a file. Just file them down gently to clean up any debris off them. Also on a service, whilst you're carrying out your flue gas analysis, you want to be making adjustment to the gas valve so that it is in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions, so that your combustion readings are in line with what the manufacturer want. Check that your gas pipe, your gas supply is labelled and clipped throughout the run. Check your PRVs that they're in date. I believe 5 years, they should be 5 years old max. That should be the date on them. Some of them you can't find a date, but ideally every 5 years these pressure relief valves should be changed. Check that your pump is running. I have a pump here underneath this boiler. I want to make sure that it is operating. Also remember to check your ventilation. You want to make sure so that your plant room temperatures, your low, your middle and your high, are the right temperatures, based upon also the ambient temperature outside being a certain temperature. So you want to make sure it's in line with the regs. When you get on site, check standard stuff such as the pressurization unit pressure, what you have before you start your work, and also check your temperatures as well. Monitor your temperatures so that when you're turning off any boilers. On this particular site, I don't see any temperature gauges for my flow and return, but on my BMS I may have some temperatures there. But it's good to see so that you're not disrupting any services if possible whilst carrying out your work. So i.e. the hot water temperature is not dropping whilst you're switching off boilers and so on, or temperatures aren't going too high if you're bypassing any of the controls. Have a look at your BMS. Take a picture if you have to of what the settings are before you start your work, if there's any reset buttons and so on, and if there's any alarms on the BMS as well, take a note of them. Also have a look at the schematics, so you see what's serving hot water and so on, what's serving heating, and the general setup of the plant room. Here is my mechanical ventilation. I'm going to check the speed. Someone's written down a measurement here, but I'm going to check for myself. You can have a quick little recce of the expansion vessels and see if they are penetrated. Sometimes it doesn't take that long to do so, and also you can also do a rule of thumb measurement quickly as well if you don't want to carry out any extensive calculations, if that's not what you're there for. But you can see, are the expansion vessels undersized for the kilowatt of the boilers. Do your little safety checks, look for trip hazards and so on when you're going to be working in somewhere, a place for the day, and also things such as the safety knock-off button, does it work? If you're a lone worker, it's advisable to let someone know that you're going to be working on your own for the day, whether it's your partner or a work colleague or the site supervisor, but put your number in the signing in book, your car registration and so on, and take their number if you can, in case you're in an emergency and you're on your back, you've had an accident. You can hopefully get your phone out of your pocket and give the person a call, the person on site or a work colleague who isn't on site, etc. Just take those things into account, because sometimes you can have serious accidents. So do a little recce of the plant room. Look for things that you're going to bang your head on, because you're more than likely going to bang your head on a lot of things. So just try to prevent that. It doesn't take much time. Ideally you should wear a hard hat, but it's rare that I've seen anyone wear a hard hat in a plant room. But ideally you should be wearing a hard hat in plant rooms, especially where you've got a low ceiling or a lot of low pipe work, and sharp edges which haven't been dealt with. So watch out for the safety things. Do your safe isolation. Look for your safety mat underneath the control panel. Notice how this control panel doesn't have a safety mat underneath it, so should enter with even more caution when you go into this sort of control panel, and make a note of it for the site supervisor that there is no safety mat underneath the control panel, because there should be one there in the event of being electrocuted. Ideally in your tool bag it's good to carry a few plasters and so on. You might not want to carry a full first aid kit, but it's good to have some plasters or things in there that can stem a serious cut, and so on. I don't want to go too deep into health and safety, but just bear some of that in mind, because accidents will happen. Okay, I hope this has helped you for carrying out servicing. I hope there's something that I've told you that you don't already know. If there's something I haven't mentioned, please put it in the comments below. We're all learning, we don't all know everything, so but please feel free to share if I've missed something or said something incorrect. but I hope you have learned something from this video. All right, thank you for your time. Until next time, bye bye.